Hey there, it's Joe Scully, Pro Rodeo MC, and welcome to the Rockstar Suite here at the Econo Hilton in London, Ontario. As we're down for the weekend, the opening weekend of the 138th Western Fair in London, Ontario. Rawhide Rodeo is bringing high school rodeo, professional rodeo, and much, much more to the opening weekend, and is sponsored by Med On Site inside of the Case IH Agriplex at the 138th Western Fair. Last night, Friday night, September the 6th, we had a high school rodeo performance, and it was exciting. You know, we saw a brand new arena record, Megan Ebert in the goat tying in high school rodeo, tied in 9.26 seconds, smoke and run, and that cowgirl just has arena records in every city, town, village, venue that we go to with Ontario high school rodeo. But tonight, 7:30, Saturday, September 7th, tomorrow, 3:30, Sunday, September the 8th, we have professional rodeo, top-ranked cowboys and cowgirls of International Pro Rodeo, and the Ontario Rodeo Association as well. A lot of these cowboys and cowgirls are making a stop here in London, Ontario, en route to the second largest rodeo in Canada in St. Tite, Quebec, and with that we have a great roster of champion cowboys, cowgirls, and it's going to be an exciting weekend, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, of professional rodeo. We also have some cowboys and cowgirls here from Ontario that are at their last event to try and qualify to the Ontario Finals Rodeo. Now, all these finals opportunities we'll be talking about all weekend long, because this is a final piece in many of their journeys to that championship dream. We have the IPRA Canadian Series Finals, May 2014 in St. Tite, Quebec. We have the International Finals Rodeo, the World Finals in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, January 2014. And we also have the Ontario Finals Rodeo coming up in a couple of weeks' time, October 11th through 13 in Ancaster, Ontario. That's what they're vying for. Plus, a lot of those championship prizes and dollars here at the 138th Western Fair, Rawhide Rodeo, presented by Med On Site. Let's talk about some of those challenging cowboys and cowgirls and their journeys, and who we're going to see featured over the two professional rodeo performances here this weekend. In the bareback bronc riding, we've got a guy coming pretty much out of retirement. He's a guy who is a four-time year-end and finals champion in bareback bronc riding in Ontario High School Rodeo competition. And his last year of high school rodeo, which was back in 2009, he won the Triple Crown in the bareback bronc riding, the saddle bronc riding, the bull riding, year-end and finals buckles, 6 of them. And that is Calvin Doan of Woodstock. Comes out of retirement, and yeah, out of retirement. He's like 22, 23 years old. But he's going to be one of our featured bareback bronc riders from Woodstock in London, Ontario, so almost a hometowner, and one of our guys that we're going to be looking for in the ring and riding. Steer wrestling, we're very fortunate to have 6 of the top 20 in the world standings of International Pro Rodeo getting set to compete at the 138th Western Fair, Rawhide Rodeo, sponsored by Med On Site. In there, we have a guy, Ronnie Fields. We're very excited, one of our featured guys. He'll be out on Sunday. He's a guy who won the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas, Nevada, back in 2004. In International Pro Rodeo, he's been a 3-time world champion. He competes a lot in the Great Lakes circuit at PRCA Rodeo. He's been a circuit champion over there. He'll be one of our featured cowboys, along with the other 5 of the top 20 of the world in the steer wrestling at the Western Fair Professional Rodeo with Rawhide Rodeo. Junior bull riding, Jack Miller. He's a guy that we saw Friday night in our high school rodeo come out versus a ranked bull, and 2 jumps and got hung up and ended up having to pull his own ripcord. Got hung up, stayed calm and cool. At the end of the arena, saved his own assets.
Real punch drive. And Samoy is riding in, and hey, just like that, the cowboy will save the day himself. Hey, there we are. What do you do for a cowboy right there, huh?
He's going to be one of our featured guys in the junior bull riding. He's the #1 man in Ontario right now in junior bull riding in the Ontario Rodeo Association. And also we have the #2 guy, Bryce Shaw, who's from Maxwell, Ontario, who we also saw in the high school rodeo. Have a bad go of it in senior bull riding, a high school rodeo competition versus Hot 23, another right outside of the door and off. But, with junior bull riding, the top 1 and 2 men in junior bull riding, we'll see them here this weekend. Team roping, we have 9 in the top 20 of the world standings of International Pro Rodeo. 2 performances, 2 slack performances. It is going to be a smoke show in the team roping. Last year, we saw a mid 5-second run win it, and we're probably going to see some 5 and 6 second runs here in the team roping as well. We have the Kidd brothers of Statesville, North Carolina, Corey and Tyler Kidd. Corey, multiple International Professional Rodeo Association world champion, and Tyler Kidd, he's just 16 years old. He's number 2 in the world as a heeler in the International Professional Rodeo Association, and he leads the rookie race, and they're going to be out Sunday to feature team ropers, and a lot more of them, including Ross Scully and Trevor Dunk. Ross Scully, the number 2 seeded man in the Ontario Rodeo Association, a multi-year-end champion tie-down roper and header at a few points in his career, and Trevor Dunk, the number 1 seeded heeler in Ontario, and multi-year-end and finals champion in the tie-down rope and the team roping, and also all-around accolades in the province of Ontario. So some of the top guys in Ontario versus some of the top guys in the world, and you never know what's going to happen, but I guarantee we're going to see some 5 and 6 second runs in the team roping. Breakaway roping, we have 3 of the top 20 of the world standings of International Pro Rodeo, 4 of the top 10 in Canada, including Casey Prather, and she's a cowgirl from Osceola, Oklahoma. She's right now in the number 6 spot in the world standings, and she's a cowgirl who made history 2 years ago at IFR 42, the first cowgirl to qualify to the International Finals Rodeo in more than one event. She qualified in barrel racing and breakaway roping, and at the Western Fair Rodeo we're going to get to see her do both. We also have a huge cowgirl that we're cheering on here from Campbellford, Ontario, Canada. That's Terry Lee Dunk. She's a qualifier to the International Finals Rodeo back in 2012, IFR 42 as well, and this year right now seated in the number 19 spot in the world standings. Top 15 go to Oklahoma, and definitely she's going to try and earn some points. She's number 2 in the country of Canada in the IPRA Canadian Series, and she's our reigning Canadian Series champion. So again, top Ontario or Canadian cowgirl versus one of the best in the world, and a whole bunch of them. 3 of the top 20 in the world and 4 of the top 10 in Canada. It's going to be some smoke and breakaway roping. Maybe we'll see some 2-second runs. Maybe, you never know. Expect the unexpected. Saddle bronc riding. Well, let's just make Cody Heel your feature saddle bronc rider that we're going to be talking about. He's a guy, he's featured on Instagram. Dylan Van Kownit's Instagram has 1,700 followers. That's huge. I only got 743. He's got 1,700 and change. Featured this, Cody Heel, 1 jump in saddle bronc riding, Thornbury at the Cedar Run Rodeo. He's coming back, riding for redemption, riding for revenge, and that'll be a guy I'm definitely watching in the saddle bronc riding. Barrel racing, 3 of the top 10 in the world, including Megan Yurko. Not her first time to the Western Fair District, not her first time to the Western Fair Rodeo, and not her first time leading the world standings. This cowgirl, she's like 17 years of age, tearing up the International Professional Rodeo Association. She's been to the International Finals Rodeo, looks to qualify to the IFR in the number 1 spot in the world, and if she keeps running around the barrels and taking names, that's definitely a good chance of her doing that. Wheeling, West Virginia's Yurko, one of our featured cowgirls, and we also have that Ontario flavor that we're watching, Mandy Peedle, the reigning Rookie of the Year in the Ontario Rodeo Association. She leads the provincial standings. Number 2 in the provincial standings, Lisa Gray, Hillsburg, Ontario, the 3-time year-end champion of the Ontario Rodeo Association. So Lisa trying to go for her 4th consecutive year-end championship. Mandy trying to go from her breakout year from Rookie of the Year status to provincial champion, and they're 1 rodeo win apart. They got the Western Fair Rodeo and 3 rounds of competition at the Ontario Finals Rodeo. It'll be a nail-biter, and a big part of that story, a big chunk of the puzzle, is going to be what happens when all the barrels are left standing and those 2 cross their finishing lines in the Western Fair Rodeo here in London. Tie-down roping, 5 of the top 20 in the world, and let's talk about this. This is going to be huge in the tie-down roping. Rawhide, he's out Saturday. We're going to see him in the team roping, and where he's like 5th in the world. We're going to see him in the tie-down roping, and he's 6th in the world. Rawhide, he's a guy who had the arena record at the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, it was back in 1997. He roped a calf in 7.1 seconds. That arena record stood standing for 7 years until Cody Ohl went out in 2003 and tied one in 6 and 5. So former arena record holder in Vegas, which is, there's only about a dozen guys have had that accolade, and they keep getting faster and faster each and every year. I mean, smoking tie-down roper, his first time here to the Western Fair Pro Rodeo, brought to you by Med On Site. tonight. And yeah, guy we're going to be watching here Saturday night at 7:30 at the Western Fair District. Junior barrel racing, Lizzie Hearn, the #1 cowgirl in the province of Ontario. She is out on Sunday and in the driver's seat, riding through recovery, and definitely a huge lead in the provincial standings. We also have a hometown cowgirl, Crystal Johnson. We'll be watching her, 3rd in the province right now. She's from London, Ontario, and part of that Triple D quarter horse team. We'll be watching them in the junior barrel racing as well, including Michaela Cronin. She's out Saturday night. Mitchell, Ontario cowgirl. She's won 3 year-end titles, 3 Ontario finals rodeo championships over the last 4 years, and her horse just won Horse of the Year in the junior barrel racing. So yeah, some big talent in junior barrel racing once again at a Rawhide Rodeo here in 2013. Bull riding, James Sullivan, Grimsby, Ontario, the reigning year-end and finals champion of the Ontario Rodeo Association. He's out in London. He's going to be competing, and right now he's also 19th in the world, 8th in the country of Canada, trying to get some more points, wanting to be into that top 15, and he's one of the guys, not only one of our featured guys, but one of the guys I'm going to pick to be 1st or 2nd in this deal at the Pro Rodeo of the Western Fair. We also have Nick Gonsalves, #1 man in Ontario, rolling into the Western Fair. Last rodeo before the Ontario Finals Rodeo. He is our 2010 year-end and finals champion bull rider and 2011 OFR champion. So a couple champs are going to collide. We also have Phil Henning, guy who's having another good year in the bull riding, 3rd in the province of Ontario. If he wins Western Fair, he'll be #1 in the province going into the Ontario Finals Rodeo. So I mean, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 3 featured guys, and guaranteed, well, not guaranteed, but almost darn guaranteed, one of those guys will be our champion of the Western Fair Pro Rodeo. Feature bull riders, and we're excited to get into the bull riding over the 2 performances of competition. It's the 138th edition of the Western Fair, Rawhide Rodeo, back at the fair for the 3rd consecutive year. Rodeo brought to you, Pro Rodeo, tonight, 7:30, Saturday, September 7th, tomorrow, September 8th at 3:30 p.m. by Med On-Site inside of the Case IH Agriplex Arena at the Western Fair District as part of that 138th Western Fair. Follow along, use that official Twitter tag, it's real serious fun, and Instagram tag and Facebook tag, and we'll see you on the recap. Have a safe weekend. Scully out.
Heel ready!